My name is Emily, and I'm 33 years old. I'm a mother to three beautiful daughters, Lily, Sophie, and Mia. They are my whole world, my reason for waking up every morning, and the source of my strength. Life hasn't been easy for me. I lost my mother when I was young, and my husband walked out on us when Mia, our youngest, was just a baby. He left without a word, never called, never sent money, and never looked back. Since then, I've been raising my three daughters alone, with no family to lean on, and no safety net to catch us when we fall. We live in a small, cramped apartment in a quiet neighborhood. Every month, I scrape together enough money to pay the rent, buy groceries, and keep the lights on. I don't have a college degree and my job options are limited. For the past few years, I've been working as a taxi driver. I don't own a car, so I rent one every month. It's expensive, but it's the only way I can earn a living. Every day, I drive for hours, picking up passengers and taking them where they need to go. Some people are kind, tipping generously and making small talk. Others are rude, complaining about the route or refusing to pay. But I don't have the luxury of quitting. I drive through exhaustion, through sickness, and even through tears because my daughters depend on me. At night, when my girls are asleep, I sit by their beds and watch them. They look so peaceful, so innocent. I touch their small hands, kiss their foreheads, and whisper, "I love you." I want to give them a good life, a life filled with opportunities and happiness, everything I never had. But the weight of our struggles often feels unbearable. One cold, rainy evening, everything changed. I was driving my daughters home after a long day. The weather was terrible, the sky was dark, the rain was pouring, and the roads were icy. Mia, who was only 5, sat in the back seat, shivering. "Mama, I'm cold," she said in her tiny voice. "I know, sweetheart," I replied, turning up the heater. "We'll be home soon." The road was empty, and the streetlights were dim. My hands gripped the steering wheel tightly as I navigated through the storm. I was nervous, my heart pounding in my chest. And then, it happened. A bright light, a loud crash, a terrible pain. Everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed. The sterile white ceiling and the steady beeping of machines told me where I was. My body ached, my head felt heavy, and my arms were too weak to move. Panic set in as I remembered the accident. "My daughters," I whispered, my voice dry and hoarse. "Where are they?" A nurse walked in, her face kind and reassuring. "Don't move too much," she said gently. "You were in a bad accident." "My daughters," I repeated, tears welling up in my eyes. "Are they okay?" The nurse smiled softly. "They're here. They're safe." A few minutes later, the door opened, and 3 small figures rushed into the room. "Mama!" they cried, their voices filled with relief. They hugged me, held my hands, and kissed my face. I held them as tightly as I could, tears streaming down my face. They were safe. That was all that mattered. The doctor came in later, his expression serious. "You have a broken leg," he said. "You'll need surgery and time to heal." My heart sank. "But I have to work," I said, panic rising in my chest. "I have to pay rent. I have to feed my daughters." The doctor looked sympathetic but firm. "You need to rest," he said. "If you don't, you could make things worse." And then I remembered something even more devastating: the car. The rented car was destroyed in the accident, and to make matters worse, I had hit a very expensive car. The owner was demanding $20,000 in damages. I had nothing, No savings, no insurance, no way to pay. I covered my face with my hands and cried. My daughters held me, their small arms wrapped around me as they cried too. I felt lost, hopeless, and utterly alone. But then, something unexpected happened. My story spread on the internet. People read about me, about my daughters, and about the struggles we faced. Strangers from all over the world reached out, sending money and words of encouragement. It was overwhelming, but it gave me a glimmer of hope. One day, I received a phone call from a man with a deep, kind voice. "I heard your story," he said. "I want to help you." I was hesitant, unsure of what to say. "Who are you?" I asked. "You'll see soon," he replied. 2 days later, a group of people arrived at the hospital. They brought flowers, warm clothes for my daughters, and a sense of warmth I hadn't felt in years. Among them was the man who had called me. He was young with kind eyes and a gentle smile. "You don't know me," he said, sitting next to my bed, "but I know you, and I want to help." Tears filled my eyes. "Why?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Because I can," he said simply. The young man and his team paid for my hospital bills, relieving me of a burden I thought I'd never escape. But that was just the beginning. A few days later, they took me and my daughters to a new place. A big, beautiful house. "This is for you," they said. I stared at them, unable to speak. "For me?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. "Yes," they said. "You don't have to pay rent anymore. This is your home." I fell to my knees, tears streaming down my face. My daughters hugged me, their laughter mixing with my sobs. "Is this real?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Yes," they said. "This is real." The young man didn't stop there. One day he asked me, "What's your biggest dream?" I wiped my tears and thought for a moment. "I want to open a supermarket," I said. "A place where people can find fresh food, warm bread, and a sense of community." He smiled. "Then let's make it happen." And he did. A few months later, I opened my own supermarket. It was a dream come true. A place filled with life, laughter, and the promise of a better future. I was no longer a struggling taxi driver or a poor mother. I was a businesswoman, a provider, and a symbol of resilience. I will never forget the young man who changed my life. He taught me something important. There are kind people in this world, people who want to help. And sometimes, miracles are real. I started with nothing, but now I have everything. A home, a job, and most importantly, a happy family. My daughters are thriving, and I've found a sense of peace I never thought possible. To anyone out there facing their own struggles, I want you to know this. No matter how hard life gets, kindness and hope can change everything. Stay strong, believe in good people, and never lose faith in a better tomorrow.